Open question, because there are lots of different answers to this. At least I hope there are. Okay. You go to the shops to buy something. You go to the shops to buy something. Okay? How can you pay?
Money.
Money. Be more specific.
Change.
Okay, one at a time. Hands up. Let's go to Tom. A debit card. Thank you. Debit card. Number one. Another Peter. Change.
Or cash.
Cash. Okay. Good. Sapir, another. Gift cards. Excellent. Darcy. A bank loan. That cheeseburger be $2 because I paid by a bank loan. Okay, so actually we'll get to loans shortly. Okay. Another one. Someone else who hasn't answered. Yeah, check it. Check. If you are living in the 90s, you can pay by check. Yeah. Credit card. Thank you very much. What were you gonna say, Lucas? Savings. Okay, so that'd be under here. Savings. Okay. Any others? Okay, so FPOS. Sorry, what does FPOS stand for? It's an acronym. Let's get this again. Electronic, and I heard it up the front. Funds, as in money.
Transmission point of sale.
Almost close. It's transfer. It's transfer, right? Transfer from you to the guy you're paying at point of sale. Right? So you can just be right there at the checkout and it works. Okay, Sapir? Reward? Okay, alright, hold on. Sorry. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I said FPOS applies to a bunch of these. Let's slow down for a second. I'm getting a lot of good answers, but now that there's quite a few on the board, a lot of the ones that you're saying to me are either already on the board or they're actually not forms of payment. I'll give you an example, okay? Lay-by is not a form of payment. In fact, it's a form of not payment, right? It's a I won't pay for this, and we agree on conditions on how that's going to work out in the future, right? Okay, so before you raise your hand and shout out a few more, now that we have a few more on the board, think about where it might fit. I'll give you an example further. One that's already on the board is points. Points. Where do you think points, like credit card points, that kind of thing, where do you think it fits on here? And I'll give you a clue. It's not credit.
Is it? Why?
It would almost certainly be gift cards. I'll tell you why. I'll show you one right now. If you've got a credit card, right, and you're earning points and all that kind of thing, right, when you go... They're actually very small bucks. When you go to cash in your thousands of points to get a value out of that, what they'll give you is a gift card, right? And then you can use that, which is like... Well, actually I've still got $7 on it, that's all, so that's fine, still have it. Okay, are there any others that really, you've thought about it, they're not on the list? Yeah. PayPass. Okay, hold on. PayPass. PayPass, PayWave, same kind of idea, right? It's really just a form of this. It's still a way of paying, but it's just that the chip is different. Yeah, that's right. It's the physical scanning method's different. Okay, but it really is any of these, right? I think it's a pretty good list. Are you guys happy with that list? It's reasonably. You know, nowadays though, like I said, if you're living in the 90s, you pay by check. Increasingly, you cannot pay by check anymore. Okay. You can't always pay by, the next most common probably is credit, but you can't always pay by credit. Some places you'll go there and they'll have a sign that talks about credit cards and it says something on it. Any suggestions? Anyone read these signs before? Have you paid attention when you've been at a shop? Yeah. Okay, so firstly, they might just say, forget it. If you want to buy a kebab here, you give me cash. Okay, I don't take credit cards. Okay. The other thing they might say is they may take credit, but then they say but. Right? Okay, number one, you know, they might say, they might say no Amex, okay, because I'll get into the reason why not American Express. Okay. Now hold on, I heard another one. They'll say, they'll say a quantity, and the quantity varies. It's 5 or 10 or 20 or whatever, right? But they say, look, if you're gonna buy something small, I won't accept your credit card. I'll only accept cash or debit, right? Now, hold on. This is really interesting, and it can be different quantities, right? Why is this? They've got the machine sitting there, like the little FPOS read a thing, right? Why would they apply a limit of some kind to it? Chloe,
So the person can buy more stuff to make that, like if they don't have cash.
hold on, wait. Say that again.
So if they don't have cash, they'll buy more stuff. So they
Oh, right, okay. So it's to coerce people to buy more objects. Okay, here's the businesswoman at the front. Okay, someone said, you said tax? I'll put that off on the side here. I want to hear what Sapir has to say. You're going to say that. Okay, right. Kinda. Let me explain. Okay. American Express. Why is there what's the word I'm looking for? Discrimination against one kind of credit card versus what are the other ones? What are the others?
Visa, MasterCard.
Visa and MasterCard are the main ones. It used to be common that you'd get Diners Club, but they're very uncommon these days. These three, they're the big guys, and they're international. Yeah.
Is that because I was surcharge?
Okay. Now, it has to do with something called a surcharge. I'll put this in another color. Yeah, you might, if you're on the other side of the business, you might experience this, right? Oh, that's a bad choice. Sorry, I need to refill this. There's a surcharge. What's a surcharge?
A fee that you have to pay.
It's an extra little fee, right? So here's the idea. Let's change position now. I asked you about all of this in terms of you're paying, okay? Now let's put you on the other side of the counter. Someone comes to you, you're the vendor now, right? And they want to pay you with these methods, okay? Now here's the thing, right? To accept cash doesn't cost you anything, right? Like if I put $5 in your hand, there's no, like, you get the $5, all of it, right? But to do credit, and even debit cards, right? Like we were talking about that machine, right? That machine, it costs money. Number one, you gotta buy the machine. Number two, you often actually have to pay ongoing fees to keep using it, right? And some of you notice, like, some of them, they're actually wireless. Like, they can just take it around anywhere. It's working just like a phone. It's got reception, and it dials up, and it talks to the bank, and it does all of this FPOS stuff, right? It's not free. There are guys over here that will charge you for that, okay? Now, in particular, American Express is renowned because they charge the most, right? So if you're a little guy and, like, as a shop you don't get a lot of business, why would you bother paying these guys, right? Lots and lots of money every month or every quarter or whatever, just so that you can get the Amex people, right? They've probably got some other card in their wallet anyway, or cash. So you just say, no, forget it. I'm not going to pay them. Okay? Alternatively, even when you do these guys, which are a little better, there's still costs involved, okay? And that's why they'll apply a minimum to coerce you to buy more, so that for you as a vendor, it's worth your while. Okay. All right. Yeah. Question. Common. Yeah, it's pretty common. Yeah, like it's I would put American Express, Visa, and MasterCard. I'd put them all on the same level. Like it's not like this is a little guy, but because of this surcharge business, this is their business model. This is how you wonder, how do credit card businesses make money? They don't make it off you. They make it off businesses by charging them. Okay. All right. Now here's the thing. Again, quick question, a long one.
Well, it's like a statement sort of. But I was buying something at the shop, like with those wireless things.
PayWave, PayPass, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, and then?
No, not the PayPass, but like.
Whatever it
I
was.
put my card, and then like it said like dialing up, and then like it called the bank, whatever, and then it said like card approved or whatever. But yeah, it just called up something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's exactly like a phone call. It's exactly like a phone call. I don't know what the relevance of that was, but let's move on, okay? No, I'm gonna move on. Is that okay? If it's still relevant after, you can come back to it. Okay. Now, again, I'm putting you in the shoes of the business again. Okay. Now, let's suppose you really, really want to be able to provide credit. Okay, but it's costing you money. Okay. You want people to be able to pay credit to you, but you've got to rent these devices. You've got to pay these guys. Okay. So here's what you do. Okay, yeah, from CBA or whatever. By the way, CBA, Westpac, ANZ, etc. They're not the credit card providers. These guys are. Okay, but that's a side note. Here's what you do. Suppose one day you didn't have the credit card machine. You go and buy one. You go and rent one. Right? So it costs you money. They're not cheap. So here's what you do. What did we have before? We had like soft drink or something, right? We had like 500ml bottle, 1 litre bottle, 2 litre bottle, and they had some costs, right? I can't. Help me remember. 75 cents was like $1.
$1.20, $2.50.
20
I have
and
it.
$2.50. Right. Okay. So here's what you do. Remember, the cost for you as a business to be able to accept credit, right, is not just a once-off. It's going to keep going, right? So you're making the same amount of money, but you're getting less profits because you got to pay these other guys. So here's your solution. Here's your solution. You take all of your things, right, and you just add a little bit to each one. You make them all a little more expensive. Something like this. Maybe you push this up to 90 cents, maybe $1.50, maybe $2.75. Something like this. Okay? So this is your way of compensating. You're like, this is an extra charge I've got to pay for. But I still gotta, feed the family and all that kind of thing. So I can't, my bottom line, my profits, what I take home and I can spend, I'll need to raise these prices to sort of compensate for this. Okay? This is really interesting. Because now if you come in and you're like, hey, you've raised your prices, right? But maybe you don't even have, actually probably most of you don't have credit cards, right? Because you've got to have like income and that kind of thing. People don't just hand them out. So you're like, I pay cash all the time. This is not fair. I'm getting ripped off because other people want to use credit. Other people want to use credit, right? So businesses, they recognize this. And that's why they do things like this. You recognize this? This is the good guys. This is their banner, actually. And it says, pay less, pay cash. What's that about? What does that mean? Has anyone actually done this before? Like, yeah, okay, so what happened? What does it mean?
If you pay cash, it costs less.
So, this seems like a simple concept, right? But why is that?
Do GST.
It's not to do with GST. It has to do with this difference, right? Okay. If you're paying cash, the business, in a sense, you don't have to foot the bill for all of this stuff, right? So they're willing to pay you this lower price. Okay, sorry. They're willing to let you pay the lower price, right? Versus this higher price which you'll pay for FPOS. Okay? Does this make sense? So this pay less, pay cash business has to do with this. It's really quite interesting.